Okay, so today's video is going to be on how to replace the alternator on a 2010 Audi S4. It's also going to be, the same process for any 3.0T supercharged engine and also the 3.2 V6. Reason I replaced the alternator is because I did have a light come on before I started working on the car. Had the alternator not charging battery code or little warning pop up on the dash. So I got a new one, got it off Amazon. We'll see how it works. So yeah, we'll slap that on and I'll show you guys the process. First thing is unplug the battery. I didn't record that because I unplugged the battery months ago when I started working on the car. Alright, so to remove the supercharger belt, tensioner's right here. It's a 16mm bolt that you have to release the tension to get the belt off, and then after that we'll take the accessory belt off. Alright, releasing the tension on the belt. And belt is off. Next we're going to remove the serpentine belt, and it's a 17mm head on the tensioner. It's a tight spot, so I'll recommend using a crow's foot and a serpentine belt extension bar to release the tension. And before you start removing the alternator, give yourself some wiggle room. You remove this radiator support brace that's being held by a 13mm nut, and then I'm not sure what type of hardware holds it in place in here. Previous owner removed it and never put it back on both sides, so I need to figure out what holds that in place. But remove that, then you'll have more access to wiggle the alternator off. Alright, so alternator's here, got the belt off, and there's a connection on the back end that you won't be able to see. Fucking light. Back here. Oh, where is it? Either way, I got the connection off right here. Connector. And there's a grounding wire that I need to remove. Trying to feel for it. And then there's two, I think, 12 or 4 12mm bolts holding it in place. You just undo those and then just wiggle it out. Oh, and you have to undo these clips too that are holding the harness for the oil level sensor. But yeah, I'm gonna get to it and knock this out. And those are the 2 bolts holding it up from the top. And then wiring harness right up there that you have to pull off, being held by those weird clips that just get pushed into place, and they lock themselves in with the little teeth that they have inside. There we go, just pull it off. There, and then here, this is the clip. So that holds the harness in place. So it's just those two. Now have better access to those 13mm bolts. And then the cap here for the grounding wire. Here it goes. A lot of fucking dirt. This car was in New Mexico or Nevada. Right. Oh, what the hell else came out with it? No. The fucking tensioner for the supercharger came off. Alright. I guess I should have unplugged this. Plug. Got a fucking bunch of sand.
I don't like sand.
I'm
remember dealing with a bunch of sand when I came back from California, stationed out in the fucking desert. Well, hell, look at this. You want to replace the fucking supercharger pulley or the supercharger tensioner? Take out the alternator. Comes this whole bracket with some roach shit on it. All right, cool. It's off. Now I'm gonna wiggle it around and remove that 13 back here. All right. Ooh, there it is. And as you can see, one of the reasons why the S4 is still not on the ground driving is I want to redo the gasket on the oil pan. Because obviously you can see a bunch of seepage out here. Up top though, everything looks alright, I guess. So, alright, good to go. We'll clean this shit off. We'll toss the new one in.
Okay, so the OEM one is out. There's the part number 09, right? Is that the fucking year? I don't know. Obviously it's a stock one. It's a Vallejo unit. And I'm gonna be tossing this cheap remanufactured one I got off of Amazon. Now what I am gonna do is I'm gonna keep this and I'm going to refurbish it myself and have it on hand just in case this one shits the bed, seeing that it's an Amazon Prime refurbished alternator. But I mean, looks clean. Yeah, the voltage regulator on this one went out. I mean, the clutch on this works, freely spins this way, and then if I put a screwdriver in here, it stops. So there's nothing wrong with the internals. All right, install in reverse order. All right, so there you go. Just tighten these guys up. All right, and then the connector back here. All right, and that's it basically. Just have to put the belt or torque these down. I don't know what the torque specs are. I'll find out and I'll put them on the screen somewhere. And reverse order with putting the belts. Serpentine belt back first, and then the supercharger belt. And I didn't show this, but on the supercharger belt, I marked the orientation of how the fucking belt spins. So that's it for that. Alright, so earlier this year I bought some of these S-shaped wrenches to try to get the turbo manifold on the GTI. Try to tighten some of the bolts that are hard to get to because of that manifold that I bought. It's a piece of shit. So I got these, had to grind the fuck out of this one to be able to get in between the runners and where the bolt is to get the manifold in. And one thing that I was having a hard time is getting the little nut to secure the ground on the back of the alternator to get that tight with sockets. Wrench wouldn't fit back here, there's no space, but the little S shape here, perfect. Just tighten that down. There we go. There we go. And it's 22 Newton meters. I think that's like about 16 foot-pounds of torque for
the 4 alternator bolts.
Okay, so once the alternator is in, and make sure you plug in all the connectors and basically reinstall everything else in reverse order. Not that difficult of a job. Plenty of space down there once you remove that bracket, but easy peasy. I'll put down in the links below, you know, some of the tools that I use to make this job easy, especially that little S wrench to tighten the bolt for the ground wire. You don't need to put the car in service mode, which is basically taking the front radiator support and pushing it forward a few inches. With the proper crow's foot and serpentine belt tool, you should be able to get in at least from the top, and then if you got the car up on jack stands, you can get to it from underneath, no issues. And all you really need to do is just get the supercharger belt completely off so you can maneuver the serpentine belt. You don't have to completely remove that. To remove the serpentine belt, you would have to do the coolant lines, the bracket for the coolant lines, to be able to get that off, and wasn't ready to do that. I just needed to swap out that alternator. So if you found this informative, like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.